Revelation chapter 4 verse 4. Around the throne were 24 thrones, and seated on the thrones were 24 elders, clothed in white garments, with golden crowns on their heads. I would like to underscore the phrase 24 elders, for this is the center of our study. In a circle around the throne, there are 24 other thrones, with 24 elders sitting on them. They are dressed in white and wear gold crowns. The elders are mentioned throughout the book. They are always seen as sitting upon thrones surrounding God's throne, worshiping God, and offering praises to Him. Some view these elders as a group of angels. However, nowhere in the Bible or Jewish tradition are angels ever called elders. This title is reserved for humans. Let's read Revelation 7 verse 11. And all the angels were standing around the throne and around the elders and the four living creatures, and they fell on their faces before the throne and worshipped God. They are clearly distinguished from the angels. Furthermore, the elders share God's throne, in contrast to angels, who always stand in God's presence. They represent the overcomers, who receive the promise to sit with Jesus Christ on His throne. Revelation 3 verse 21. The one who conquers, I will grant him to sit with me on my throne, as I also conquered and sat down with my Father on His throne. Also, the elders wear white robes, which, in Revelation, are the attire of God's faithful people. 3:4-5. Yet you have still a few names in Sardis, people who have not soiled their garments, and they will walk with me in white, for they are worthy. The one who conquers will be clothed thus in white garments, and I will never blot his name out of the book of life. I will confess his name before my Father and before His angels. Finally, they have golden victory crowns, in Greek stephanoi, on their heads. The victory crowns are reserved exclusively for the victorious saints. Revelation 2 verse 10. Because you have kept my word about patient endurance, I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on the whole world, to try those who dwell on the earth. In fact, they wear victory crowns, not royal crowns, shows that the 24 elders are not rulers from the other worlds in the universe but are humans. All these things point to the 24 elders being a symbolic group, representative of redeemed humanity. Their number is symbolic, incorporating two sets of 12, referring to the 12 tribes of Israel as the symbol of God's people in the Old Testament and the 12 apostles as the symbol of God's people in the New Testament. In the New Jerusalem, the 12 gates are named after the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 12 foundations are named after the 12 apostles. Revelation 21 verse 12-14. The 24 elders, thus, represent the entire body of God's people from both the Old and New Testament, the church in its totality. In the Old Testament temple, there were 24 divisions of priests, who took turns in the temple services according to 1 Chronicles chapter 24 verses 4-19. Each division was led by a chief priest, with 24 chief priests in total. 24 verse 5. In Jewish tradition, these chief priests were called elders. Notice that the activities of the 24 elders in Revelation consist of continuous worship and adoration to God and the presentation of the saints' prayers to God, activities similar to the work of the priests and singers in the earthly temple. Therefore, seated on the thrones, the 24 elders function in their twofold role as priests and kings. The 24 elders appear in Revelation 4 for the first time in the Bible. They are never mentioned in any record of the Old Testament visions of God's throne. While cherubim and seraphim are regularly mentioned, no elders are ever observed by the prophets. This indicates that the 24 elders, when John sees them, are a new group not previously present in the heavenly throne room. They must have appeared there shortly before the scene was set up, sometime after Jesus' resurrection. They could have been the ones who were raised from the dead when Jesus died, in Matthew 27 verses 51-53. Paul tells us that, when Jesus ascended to heaven, He took a host of captives with Him. Ephesians 4 verse 8. These resurrected saints ascended with Jesus into heaven as the representatives of humanity, to witness God's fairness in His actions and to participate in the heavenly judgment. These representatives of humanity were ushered into the heavenly throne room at some point while the ceremony was set up. They were brought there, with envoys from the whole universe, to welcome Jesus back to heaven after his victorious death on the cross and to witness his enthronement at the right hand of the Father.